It does. Hello. Welcome. And sorry. Happy Friday, boys. Happy Friday, everybody. This is Maple Bitcoin live stream, Friday stream. I'm Jor, joined by my two good buddies here, Forrest, Rajat. And we are still right about Bitcoin. Contrary to popular belief, contrary to the mainstream narrative, contrary to the fiat price, contrary to everything right now, we are still indeed right about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about that today. Rajat's in school. He's back in elementary school this morning. And Rajat actually had the opportunity to chat with a couple, I would say, investment giants. Wasn't Grant on the call for a while too?
He was, but he left because the sound was not great.
Just had enough. That's hilarious, actually. So what was the takeaway? I actually watched a lot of that episode there, and I kind of got the same sense. See VHF in the chat here talking about it.
Yeah.
But what was your thoughts on that, Rajat? Because you were kind of in there with Gary Cardone, Grant for a couple seconds, their host, I forget her name, Dana, and then some other Wall Street dude. What was the sense there from those folks?
Oh man, I think the guy Tyler, the Wall Street guy, he was like somewhere in the middle, where he wasn't too worried, but he was thinking like, oh, maybe this isn't the right choice. But he was still thinking. He's been in it since 2013. I mean, to be honest though, his stories were a little boring, so I was kind of zoning out when he was talking. I wasn't really listening to him. But the other guy, Gary, Gary was freaked out. And this is Gary Cardone. Like, he's a massive investor. So if regular people are freaked out, I mean, if he's freaked out, then I'm not surprised regular people are freaked out.
Yeah, and I think he had a few good points. He mentioned that like he's heavily invested in this at a he's not super early to it at a price point. So when the price moves, it's huge fluctuations in his position.
Yeah.
But I think that's all. It's kind of like a narrow way to look at it, like sort of a self-centered way to look at it, because it's about percentage and for individuals, right? Like, I don't know what his net worth is. I don't know what position his net worth is in Bitcoin. But there's probably other people with a lot less Bitcoin than him, but a lot higher percentage of Bitcoin allocation. Yeah. And they're feeling it like they have just as much of a right, I guess, or whatever. I mean, that doesn't really make sense, but they could feel it, they could feel it proportionally more, even though their position is overall smaller. I mean, he had some other good points too, but a lot of it was, in my estimate, just a lot of sort of fiat mentality. Like, he even mentioned one time, he's like, you guys aren't going to be able to move the needle. Like, Rajat, you bought Bitcoin the day before or whatever it was, but you're not moving the needle anymore. We need new money in to pump up the price. And it's like, you're kind of describing like a exit scheme, like a Ponzi, that you just need more money in. And it's like, that just sort of naturally happens as an asset grows. Like, more money does come into an asset and grows. So it isn't
as the demand grows.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, why do we need more money in right now? Why does the price, why is it not okay that it's $64,000? Why does that matter ultimately? This is just, these are sort of small momentary things. And if that's an issue for you, it's an issue because of your time frame.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think his time horizon's off.
Yeah, and that was the big thing for me too, is like, if you looked at Gary's last 2 years, we're obviously not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about Gary Cardone here, but I still think it's worth talking about just like his last couple of years in Bitcoin and how much he organized, how involved he was with Bitcoin and crypto space. And it just goes to show you, man, like you could have a lot of capital invested. You could be thinking about this a lot and still have just a very, not misaligned, but just kind of off target a little bit here. Because obviously he's in it for the gains. He's an investor, and a lot of people are. But there's a lot of people here who are here for the revolution. And I guess it's easier for us to say that with, you might say, a little bit more expected runway, just because we're younger. So we have a little bit more, a couple more decades probably expected anyways. Life's very unexpected. But That was my main takeaway too, is just very fiat thinking, very fiat mentality in terms of, this needs to happen or else everything's going to be dead. That's not the case at all. There's so many positive things happening in and around Bitcoin. That's why we titled the show today. We're still right about Bitcoin, insanely bullish, and that's what we're going to be spending some time talking about today. So yeah, it was kind of wild to see, because I've been listening to Gary for the last year or so, and it seemed like he had a pretty good grasp of what was going on in Bitcoin and a pretty good understanding of it. And maybe I was wrong, because when you think about it from Gary's perspective, if you spend that much time connecting with people, especially that are in the more of the Wall Street realm than like the pleb realm, we'll say, that's where your focus is. So you don't have as much time to dive into some of the finer details around Bitcoin and the difficulty adjustment and why it doesn't really matter what's happening today. So I get it, but it was still kind of surprising to me to hear that Gary was scared. Gary was shook.
Yeah, and I think he's a smart guy, and he actually asks really good questions. He has some pretty good points overall in certain areas, but we all have blind spots, and it was, I think, to sum it up for me, is he didn't even know what the term Satoshi was as far as the unit of within Bitcoin. So I mean, take that for what it is, I suppose. And also, I'd feel pretty bad too. I remember he had like 1,000 pounds of silver, something crazy. He sold his silver right before silver went off, and then put it all into Bitcoin. Like, that sucks, that sucks. So, and it is what it is, and it's only momentarily. And if he continues to learn about Bitcoin, which I'm sure he will, he seems to be pretty invested mentally in this as well, intellectually in this as well. So I think he'll be fine. I'm not too worried about Gary.
He's a really good guy. I actually maybe he was more. I think he wanted to make the conversation more interesting.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that too.
Yeah, but it was a really good. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I gathered too. Is kind of he was trying to push the conversation to be more like a debate than just a circle jerk, as you call it. But I also sense some like just misunderstanding and uncertainty from him. But if you haven't done the work, then it's very fair to do. So like you guys said, I think that he'll be fine. I really like Gary too. Like I've been following him for a few years now. I love that he's in Bitcoin. It's just it's part of it. We had a question, I think it was on the Tuesday show that we did together. I think it was Rajat wasn't there, but somebody asked like, how do you keep your mindset high? How do you keep, feeling good even when we're down in the dumps? And it's not something that you can buy. It's not something that you can learn in a couple of weeks. It just takes time. It takes going through the highs and the lows of Bitcoin and making adjustments for the next one. That's really what it is.
It's like borrowing conviction.
Yes.
Right? Because you're taking somebody else's conviction. You're not actually putting in the time yourself.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, it's like, if this thing goes down, then who do I blame? Because I don't quite understand it. Actually, there was something I wanted to show you guys. You guys have probably seen this. Have you guys seen that 4-year, the thing that I'm sharing there? The 4-year moving average? Have you seen this card? Maybe I've shared it here. But basically, you can see here, it's just doing what it does every time. Yeah. It's not like it's going. Okay, so like what you see from this chart, I want to just explain for the audience. Basically, the dots are the day-to-day price. Goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down, and then the colors are basically how many multiples of the 4-year moving average price the price is at that time. So you can see here, Bitcoin's price is like 5. Oh no, actually here it's like 16, 17 times the 4-year moving average price.
Yeah.
Here, it's 5 to 6 times the 4-year moving average price. Here, it didn't even get to 3. Right, so it's just doing what it does. It's going up, it's coming down, but now with institutional adoption, it's just different, and that's perfectly fine. So the title of this video, where nothing has changed. We still believe the exact same things. It's just that the price isn't doing what we had expected it to, and that's perfectly fine.
And I think that what we can see here is we did not go into the red on the SMA multiplier here. So people feel disappointed that we didn't have a traditional bull market in that sense of seeing those seeing those huge massive gains. And I think it is a little bit silly. Like people just kind of want to be upset in general. Like there's sort of, there's a pessimistic underlying of that, because if we did have, crazy, massive, unbelievable top, do you think you would have sold your Bitcoin? Like, do you think you would have timed that? Like, no, like it actually probably wouldn't have mattered at all. If we're still at these prices today, but we went to 150,000, 200,000, it probably wouldn't make you feel any different today.
It's a good
Yeah,
point.
well, you mean like if it had that blow off top and then it came back down?
Yeah, if we were still at
You'd probably
today's
feel worse.
price, yeah,
Probably
you'd
worse.
probably feel worse. Exactly.
Yeah.
And people would have done dumber shit at the top too.
More leverage, more,
Yeah.
this is it, we're breaking out, we're never going back down.
Yeah.
It instills a lot of emotional confidence. And there's a lot of people that, like, if you're borrowing confidence, you'll probably borrow confidence from somebody who's very bullish at those points too, because people can't help themselves. The greed kicks in, your eyes light up with the Bitcoin symbol, and you just go all in. Like it's an emotional time, and
Yeah,
we didn't really see that.
Yeah, and then I think getting through these dips is actually a good thing, because it just increases your conviction. It makes you think, like, why is this happening? And then you realize it's going to keep happening over and over again, and it's perfectly fine. It's normal. This is the price. So this is the way that I look at it. So I want to give the audience just a different way to think of it. So this, what you see on your screen now, these dots, this is a distraction. The only thing that matters is this.
Right.
Tune out the noise.
Yeah.
Like, the other part is noise.
So tell us what this is.
So this is the 4-year moving average price. So what you see here is basically when you have 4 years of data, it gives you a point on this chart. And then let's say, for example, the following day you have another day of data, the oldest piece of data is removed. So what this shows you is that over time, after 4-year periods, the price always goes up. It's higher. So
Right.
your goal should just be to hold. Like that's it. You can't time the market. It's impossible to time. And just credit to VHF. He was telling us it's going to go to like 60K. He was right. And we were kind of giving him shit for it, and that's perfectly fine. That's just the conversation. I respect him even more now. Or her, whoever it is.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed about that chart there is that it never goes down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It never goes down.
Yeah, because it takes in 4 years of data and spits out the oldest one. So you have to have 4 years of it going down over that 4-year period compared to the last period for it to actually start to round out and begin to go down. Like it'll have periods there. You can see periods of slight movement to the upside, but this just completely smooths out the volatility that you see with the daily Bitcoin price, and you just see that the asset continues to go up in dollars.
And that's the other thing we've been talking about too. Is I was just going to say, Rajat, last week I think it was, we showed that the spreadsheet. If you just would have been buying every week, you would have came out like a bandit. Even though 4 years we might be down, or a 1 year we might be down compared to gold and the S&P. If you just stack, no, was it 4 years? Was that the time frame we were looking at, or 5 years?
It was since the last top. So I'll share it. I'll share it here. It was since the last top, so 69K in 2021.
Like, this is important for people to understand. We'll probably show this more times in the future, but this represents exactly what we talk about every week here.
Yeah. I told Gary about this, because he was saying, if you had bought then, I mean, you're down. I told him about this, and he was kind of, in the conversation, I mean, at least my read was that he sounded kind of shocked, because he was probably thinking, how is that even possible?
It's hard to work out in your head how that's possible, but that's why having a spreadsheet here is helpful.
Yeah, it's because of the volatility, right? When this is the power of asymmetrical opportunities. If you buy at the bottom, you can like the most you'll lose is 100%, but the most you'll gain is infinity, and that's exactly what we see here. So if we scroll down, we can see here. I did a $5 daily purchase. I'll go 100 just to make it a little bit easier for people to visualize. So if you go down, you can see at certain points, so November of 2022, if you were buying then, those buys, $100 is worth 308. $100 is worth 388, 395. Whereas the worst position you'd be in is you would have lost about 50% if you bought $100 worth in, let's say, October.
Right at the top.
So
yeah.
So exactly right at the top. So if you bought in October, you'd be down 48%. But if you bought in November of 2022, you'd be up 300%.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you put in the $5 input as well, because that's can be realistic for people.
Yep.
Like, $5 is like a regular coffee at Starbucks. Like people often will say that, but that's true. Like $5 is probably doable for a lot of people. It's if you just automate it. Oh, that's weekly even, but I mean a lot of people could probably even do that daily even. But even weekly, right? It's at least something, and you can see you got massive percentage. I mean, the percentage is the same regardless of your purchase amount.
Yeah,
I would be interested to see. I know that the river supercharge didn't exist 5 years ago, but I would be very interested to see what a supercharged DCA would look like even compared to this, because that's buying even more when it's down.
Yeah.
So you'd be stacking up more sats during those days when the price is down. So I would say that it'd be significantly higher than this. And it's automated through River in the US. So if you're lucky enough to have access to that, that's definitely an option for people. But the other thing you could do, and this is something that I do in the live stream every day, is we have kind of a set amount. So let's say it's $5, $10, and $15. If the day's kind of even from the day before, we buy the normal amount, so $10. If the price is down, we buy more. So we spend $15 that day. And if the price is up from the day before, we only spend $5. So that's kind of like an intelligent DCA strategy that would actually maximize this even more so.
Yeah.
And you could do this on any asset that over time goes up into the right. You get worse returns. I mean, Bitcoin is the volatility in Bitcoin gives you higher returns because of that. But it's not a bad strategy to just buy on down days. Like it's simple. It goes against your basic instinct of, oh, well, that's weakness in the market. That's the intelligent market saying something's wrong here today. Something's mispriced. But if you're buying a good asset that you believe in for a long duration, then you want it cheaper. It's really just that simple. Like it can be really, really simple.
Yeah. And Stan actually gave a really great example here, a really great explanation. I guess this is what I was trying to say, but I couldn't put it in words. So we see this because it happens because the bottom stays longer and the top is swift. If you keep buying at the bottom, it compensates for the swift drawdown. That's so great. That's such a great way to say it. So let's go back to this. You can see the tops last a couple of days. Like you can see here, the top lasted a couple of days, whereas the bottom lasted weeks, right? This bottom here, this lasted not too long, while this lasted weeks. Like the 69K price, how long was it there? Hours?
If that.
Right? Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, great point. Great point, Stanley. I didn't think of that. But that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even in traditional markets, again, it's I think the vast majority of bear markets in like the S&P or whatever have been like 1 year, and then it's like 3 to 8 years of bull market of up and to the right on average.
Yeah.
So even that ratio is showing you that it's a very small amount of time that you end up having these larger corrections within markets. And a lot of people are trying to make their money trying to, like, when you're trying to time the greater market, you're trying to time yourself around this like 1 year potential drawdown, when it's just, you just have way less of an opportunity to actually increase your value if you participate in the time in the vast majority of time where it's going up. You'll be better off in the long run, and it's way easier, right? Like it doesn't require any serious amount of timing, right? It's that idea of keep it simple, stupid, right? Just all you need is a DCA and you perform really well. If you're one step above that, you have a hybrid DCA lump sum when it's down, or a supercharged DCA. It's not that difficult to increase your purchase when you think that when you see that the price has gone down within your time frame of buying. That's really simple. Really, really simple.
Yeah, the more simple, the better. And I think that if more people just kind of had this like simple approach, you might say, I think everything would be different. I think vibes would be way different right now. It's just that, as MDUS said here, people think too much about hypothetical price targets and get wrecked on short-term mental bets. That's all they are. They're just mental bets on your own timeline. And you know, if you haven't figured out yet, but the universe doesn't work on your timeline, and Bitcoin definitely doesn't work on your timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where there was another one up here too that said time in the market is better than timing the market. Then it's one of those things where if you don't have $5 a day that you can put towards something like that, then I mean, we're probably having a different conversation here. But if you do, that's literally all that you have to do. If you would have done that for the last 4 years, and the thing I think that people really need to know is that it's going to look the exact same in 4 years from now, assuming nothing crazy happens in Bitcoin. But like the trend will not go the other way. It'll continue on exactly how it is right now. I feel comfortable saying that over like a 4 or 5 year time horizon versus like a 4 or 5 week or 4 or 5 month timeline.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If you just keep buying, honestly, that's it. You just keep buying, give it some time. That's how I like to focus on. I mean, pretty much everything, right? If you, let's say, for example, going to the gym, you just keep going. Even if you feel like, oh, nothing's happening, you just keep going. And eventually, if you keep doing the right things, if you keep eating well, if you keep eating less than you consuming less than you burn in terms of calories, eventually you're going to lose weight. If you keep saving more than you consume, eventually you're going to have more money saved than you spent. If you keep buying Bitcoin over time and you just let time do the work, you're going to be good.
Yeah,
good advice.
You can't beat the laws of physics. It's really that
Exactly.
simple.
Yeah. And there's another quote here from Alex Hormozy who said, "Volume negates luck," and that's very true with DCA too. Volume negates luck.
Yeah.
It takes the uncertainty out of things. And I was actually explaining to somebody in a call I did a couple weeks ago. He's like, "Why would I want to set up a DCA? Like, why not just? I've been buying once a month. Why not just keep doing that?" And the reason why you set up a DCA is because then it completely takes price out of it. It's just you're buying every day. You're buying every price. It doesn't matter what the price is doing. You're just doing the exact same thing over and over again, and you're buying at every price. And as Rajat's spreadsheet shown there, that's the way to do it.
The fundamentals haven't changed.
Exactly. And that's the key, I think, right?
Yeah. I wanted to say, sometimes I do feel like a little worried. Like sometimes I feel like, oh, what if this thing goes to zero? And then
what kind of worries do you have though? Like when you're thinking about that, what kind of worries specifically?
That's the thing. It's emotional.
Yeah.
It's not logical, right? But then that's the thing. I use that to my advantage because let's say, for example, if I feel like that, I'm thinking everybody else is probably feeling that. So now is the time to buy, even if I don't want to. Like when it went to 16K, everybody was saying, oh, it's going to zero. It's going to zero. Don't buy. It's going to zero. And that's the best time to buy. Because what I've noticed is what a lot of people do is they take action after something's already happened. So let's say with stocks, when they see a stock has popped up, it goes up like 100% overnight. They're like, oh, it's going to go up even more. I want to buy now. It's like with silver. Silver went to like 126, 121 or something like that. People are like, oh, it's going up forever. But the move has already happened. That's not when you buy. You buy before the move happens. And that's what most people don't do. You buy when everybody doesn't want to buy. It's like buy when there's blood in the streets.
And in fact, if you were to buy when something is going up and everything feels good about it, that's when it's the most likely to have a correction of some kind. Like you're buying into you're buying into something that has it's all probabilistic when you're trading or when you're investing in assets with some type of time horizon. You're thinking there's a probability of this happening within this time frame. the probability of something going down goes up as it goes up, right? It becomes more likely that it's going to correct. It doesn't always happen, and there's sort of a momentum indicator and things like that too. But if you're just looking at logic, if you take emotion out of it, it can be a little bit more obvious when something is overbought. But there's also like, it's tough to pick up on the emotion of something unless you're already invested in it. Like I had Bitcoin. I had some Bitcoin when Bitcoin was at 16K, but I didn't have enough to feel super emotional about my position, even though it was down. And so I didn't have the connection of my own emotion to realize, oh, this is, I feel like this is a, Bitcoin's at a bad price, therefore I should buy. I should counter trade my emotion. So it does take having a position, I think, because it's hard to, like, sometimes it's obvious if you're like dialed in and you can get some bottom or top signals or bottom signals from like friends or family or social media or something. But I think the own input of how you feel is also pretty helpful, and that happens from actually being exposed to something, not just when you're not exposed to it. I mean, when I was seeing 16K Bitcoin, it didn't matter to me because I didn't have a large enough position to really care about it.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that spreadsheet that Rajat's showing there, when you're getting a lot of sats for not a lot of dollars, that's where we are today. It's literally right where we are today. What was that? 2022 in November? Yeah, right there.
2022 here.
So $5 turned into $20 essentially.
Oh, $5 bought you 30,000 sats.
Wow.
That's
That's
crazy.
kind of crazy, especially since for a while that would get you less than 5,000 sats. Right?
Yeah. Even in terms of US dollars.
Even in US dollars, yeah.
Great.
So it's still 6x from that. No, it would have been 6x from that point. Anyways, doesn't matter too much because we try not to. I know it's, we preach it all the time here and we do our best not to pay too much attention to the fiat price, but it is still the thing that a lot of people care about. And so it would be kind of foolish for us to just bypass the whole thing there. But I want to give a shout out here, a couple different shout outs. Number one to the Bitcoin nurse. And he sent 4020 units of freedom to the QR code there. And he said, bullish, TBN, the Bitcoin nurse. And we got a nice little message here. This is kind of cool from Conrad. There's not a whole lot of people watching on the Zap stream today, but we're still watching the Zap stream. But so we got 8 people over in Nostr right now. And this is a message from Conrad. Conrad gets a full highlight here. He said, waiting for Maple Bitcoin every week now is like waiting for another weekly Spider-Man episode back then.
Nice.
With 963. So thank you, Conrad. Special shout out. Okay. So that's over on Nostr. We got the QR code there beside Forrest's head. And I think speaking of fiat price, we'd be kind of silly not to talk about the Jane Street happenings this week. A lot of news. A lot of I think there's a lot of people calling it Bitcoin or cope. But I don't think that's the case. I think that's anybody who's been paying attention, we've been calling it for a while on the show, that there's just something that's not adding up here, whether you want to call it paper Bitcoin, some sort of manipulation. And I think that some of our theories, our conspiracy theories, were somewhat proven right this week. So what do you guys take on Jane Street this week?
I'm still digesting a lot of it, but I think to kind of sum it up, there's been a lawsuit brought towards Jane Street, and it has to do, actually, I'm not 100% sure what the lawsuit has to do with, but some of the allegations are that they are an approved partner. Is that what it is? It's something where an authorized participant in being able to basically add Bitcoin or take Bitcoin away or add and delete shares to help level out the actual assets under management of IBIT and the amount of Bitcoin they have and stuff. So within that, there's a lot of power of being able to manipulate prices. So that's, I think, a lot of what the speculation has been, and I think a lot of it still is sort of speculation at this point, right?
Yeah.
We're still in maybe early days of discovering what's going on here, but that's my understanding of it as of now. And then I would just add, Jane Street has a terrible record with doing exactly this. They are literally not allowed legally to operate in India because they were they were doing these weekly trades where they were they were going long, I believe it was silver, and then they were shorting it on in different ways and then selling their spot, creating momentum downwards, and then profiting on their short position. So this is kind of what people are speculating they've been doing with Bitcoin. We'll kind of see and wait and see. And then
it would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it could for sure. And the thing is people are saying, like, people just generally, if they have no education around this, they think, okay, Wall Street is, safe with their money. They're like these money people. You give your money over to a mutual fund holder or a financial advisor and all this. A lot of these people are like the most untrustworthy with this kind of stuff, right? Like they're sort of like the most degenerate. They make a lot of money, so then they can kind of pay their way out of these situations. They manipulate stuff all the time. Like, it's really, really common. So the fact that there's speculation of manipulation of markets here is completely plausible in my eyes. And also another thing that should be said is Jane Street spawned Sam Bankman-Fried, who later went on to crash. Actually, I guess Bitcoin was already kind of crashing before that, and then that's what found out that FTX was insolvent and Alameda Research was stealing exchanges.
I wanted to ask, do you know what the details on that? Do you know what exactly happened? How did they create SBF?
They hired him as a derivatives trader, I believe. So
like he worked at Jane Street.
He worked at Jane Street out of college or university or whatever. And he set up, this is what his story was, is that he did this sort of spread trade of being able to acquire Bitcoin and then sell it in Japan where there was a premium. Somehow, premium. Yeah, it was, the kimchi premium is for Korea, but yeah, this was for Japan at the time. Okay, but that, like, technically is very difficult to do. Like, you have to have ability to go into the Japanese markets, which is tough. Like, there was a reason that there was a premium there. So how he got access to do that, or even if that was true, is like still up for debate, I would say.
But totally legal, right?
I don't know.
If you can capture the spread between currencies, that seems legal to me.
I guess it depends on
what avenues you're doing it through.
Yeah, he was buying it he was buying in the countries where it was undervalued, and he was selling it in the apparently that's what happened. And he was selling it where it was overvalued. Well, not overvalued, but appropriately priced.
Premium.
Yeah, but yes, to sell, I mean, there's regulatory markets in every region, right? So to be a participant, a foreigner in a local jurisdiction like that, how did he get permission to be in there and bring the Bitcoin from other places, right? And again, there's a reason there was a premium. Like, if it was really that easy to do, then there would be no premium.
Good point.
So it's not simple. I don't know exactly how he did that, and I think a lot of people are questioning, like, what kind of privileged position did he have to be able to do that, if that was even true?
Well, that's what it seems like Jane Street is more than anything else, is they just have privilege that other entities don't have, in the sense that they have access to real-time information and then can make trades based on that information, which in itself is super sketchy. I mean, I think it's necessary, or it was probably before the technology that we have today, somebody to be kind of in the middle there. I don't know what they're called, market maker, I believe.
Yeah.
MMs, yeah. So that in itself, plus just the fact that they're not like a publicly traded company, they're not probably audited that very heavily. There's only one founder from when Jane Street Company was actually created. That one founder has one picture in the last 25 years. Like, it's just a super sketchy operation to me. And so it just wouldn't surprise me one bit if this was what was happening. And it would make sense based on what we've been seeing literally every morning, the 10 a.m. dump. Like there's just too many dots here to say that this is, there's no fire here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's what they're being accused of. Actually, I remember now the lawsuit is actually about the Terra Luna collapse. So there's people proposing that they basically orchestrated through insider knowledge from somebody from Luna Labs or whatever, took the information over of the working of their algorithmic stablecoin and the Luna token over to Jane Street, and then Jane Street orchestrated a massive collapse of that, which is actually a lot more one of the early steps of the last bear market was the Terra Luna collapse. Actually triggered a lot more than SBF. SBF collapse was like pretty near the bottom, and it created some cascading action as well for Bitcoin, but it largely collapsed because of how transparent Bitcoin is, and because Bitcoin's price was already down so much, and they didn't have the Bitcoin anymore. But if you follow SBF on Twitter, for some reason, somebody's tweeting through him, and supposedly they were completely solvent, and it's a big conspiracy there. So depends what you believe, I guess.
Didn't it show that they had 0 Bitcoin though when they kind of everything got flushed out?
I think it was like one.
1 Bitcoin.
1 Bitcoin.
Dude was a whole coiner.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking something that's crazy is with Terra Luna. So something that happened with Terra Luna was I was reading this article where it said something like they took out a little bit of liquidity, 150, I think it was 150 million.
Yeah.
Of liquidity. And then after that happened, I don't know how they would have gotten that information, but basically what they were doing is they were trying to move it to another pool or something like that. I don't know the exact details, but as soon as that happened, I think Jane Street probably had some kind of insider information where, so while that 150 million was taken out, they also dumped like $85 million worth of Luna, and they just dumped it on the market, and they market sold it, and that's what killed Luna. And actually, based on that, I think what Jane Street did was a positive because they killed Do Kwon, right? If Do Kwon, could you imagine Do Kwon was like at the point of Tether at this point? How much Bitcoin would he have?
Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
All these, that's the powerful thing about Bitcoin. You can keep messing it around. You can keep messing around with it. You can beat it up. All of this actually works in a positive way for Bitcoin because think about it. More and more coins are moving from people who are potentially weak hands into people who are strong hands, people who actually understand it, right? The people who don't quite understand it, the people who borrowed their conviction. They bought at 126K, a lot of them, right? Whereas now they're selling because they don't quite understand what's going on and they think it's going to 0. So everything, and I stand by the statement that I make, everything is good for Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what it is, even Jane Street, good for Bitcoin.
Long term.
Exactly. If they are doing what they're doing and we get to buy more, think about it, we get to buy more Satoshi because of them. Why am I not sad about that?
It's a really good example, Rajat, of what makes Bitcoin an anti-fragile system.
Yes.
Not just not fragile, because something that's not fragile, something along the line could make it fragile as technology advances, right? Or something gets developed. But
like gold.
Bitcoin, sure. Yeah, exactly. So, but something that's anti-fragile actually learns from attacks and develops and strengthens from attacks. And so we have Bitcoin there that's anti-fragile. That sure, it can get pushed around, manipulated price short term, but it ultimately isn't going to break it. And then you have something like Terra Luna, which was completely fragile and deserved to be broken. Anything that can be broken should be broken. With these systems, because they don't deserve to exist and they don't deserve to be pillars of our financial system if they can be so easily broken. And that's a large part of the problem I have with fiat. Why can the fiat system that we exist in not handle deflation? Like, it literally breaks. The debt system that we have breaks if we have a deflationary environment. That's so fragile. Because humans are intrinsically deflationary. As we develop better and better technology, it should become easier and cheaper to produce our bare necessities and beyond. So the fiat system can't handle natural reality. And so it should be broken. And it will be broken. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. And one of the things that, so a lot of people are probably confused about why the fiat system can't handle deflation. It's because if prices go down, nobody's borrowing money. And that's how
No more
banks
money
make
creation.
Exactly. No more money creation means nobody's using the banks to make money. Everybody's saving and they're waiting to buy things. They're not spending their money on just stupid shit, right? Companies that are just creating plastic gadgets, they don't do well. That's what makes the fiat system fragile. It needs us to keep bringing our future consumption to the present to survive. If we don't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Think about how many people benefit from you buying something, and not just buying something with like cash with money that you already have, but going to the bank and getting a loan. Think about how many hands in that deal benefit from you doing that. A lot.
Yeah.
Right? A ton.
How many yachts are bought because of that?
It's just there's so many middlemen, there's so many hands taking a cut of everything along the way. Every time you consume, there's hands everywhere trying to get their piece of it. And that's what Bitcoin aims to destroy. That's the whole point of it. And when you see comments like this, we're not going to give them any more attention here. But it's just a misunderstanding. Because if there's a cult here, it's the fiat cult. That's brainwashed, programmed idiots who believe that you need to print money for society to function. And it's just not true at all.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're not preaching any new ideas here. These are all laws of the universe, and Bitcoin is very much in line with them.
Yeah, in a cult, you're not allowed to ask questions. You're not really allowed to ask questions. All Bitcoiners do is ask questions. That's the difference.
Too many.
If you don't understand something, you ask a question about it. If the feedback of the answer that you get instills more confidence in you, then you feel confident with that answer. If you don't, you ask more questions. There's nobody telling you not to ask questions here. That's for sure.
Exactly.
I wanted to show you guys how early we are. Actually, do you guys know Threads, the platform?
Mm-hmm. Is that like a Twitter spinoff?
Yep.
It's like basically Instagram's Twitter. So I'm going to share my screen here. I posted something on Threads, and I'll show you. So you can see here. I said we're still early to Bitcoin. I can't believe we get to buy under 70K in 2026. So I said, if you're buying Bitcoin right now, this is just an X post that I posted on there. So if you're buying Bitcoin right now, you're front running the majority of governments. Well, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Dave Ramsey, your neighbor, your parents' financial advisor. 99% of the world owns zero Bitcoin. It's the wealth transfer from the extremely wealthy to everyone who owns Bitcoin. Do you get it yet? And the comments on here were ridiculous. They were actually pretty funny. Like you see here. 99% of the world isn't gullible to buy an asset that's a casino and nothing more. Much of that list aren't gamblers. They buy value creation, not memes. Zero understanding of Bitcoin.
Zero.
If it was a meme, it would be at zero.
I've been taking some screenshots of comments.
Some receipts.
Yeah. That's exactly it. We need those, because right now is probably the worst time, and these people are just they're the ones who are, what did that person say? The cult is still pushing hard. The people who aren't part of this group are the ones who are pushing hard, right? And then the next comments here, you can see, since you like numbers, only 50,000 Bitcoin whole coiners are millionaires. How do you know that? Nobody knows.
Made up.
What a stupid.
Out of 500 million accounts, 500 million people don't own Bitcoin. 500. If it was 500 million people, then the price would be much higher. But nobody knows. Like, these numbers are just completely made up. And then we can see here, this person doesn't know how to read clearly. This person said, "How are you currently holding up with your clients that bought 100K plus? They're perfectly fine. They're okay, right? If they had the right time horizon, they're okay. They didn't get hurt at all. Like, they're good. The extremely wealthy don't transfer their wealth to the unwealthy. This one, I mean, unless they understand what's happening, it's not like do you guys think that if the wealthy knew there's only 21 million, they wouldn't want to?
I think that they know there's 21 million, but I don't think they understand the importance of that.
Right. Yeah.
And how it can't be changed, why it's actually very good for the economy to have a fixed supply of something, not opposed to what most people think that it would be like a bad thing that we're not creating new units of the thing. I think that they know it. I just don't think that they know the implications of it.
I think there's just so many things you need to understand with Bitcoin, and otherwise the whole time you just say, well, it could fail. And there's all these other crypto projects, and this one's faster, and this one has another community, and blah, blah, blah. So you're just, if you don't understand why it's different in so many significant ways, then your position size is just going to reflect that. You're just not going to have the confidence to hold any of it. It doesn't matter if you, I mean, yeah, the 21 million cap is one thing, right? Like that's one thing. What's his name? Peter Schiff always talks about. It doesn't matter because there's other cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell does that have to do with Bitcoin?
Right.
That's like saying there's other precious metals.
Can you use the other cryptocurrencies on Bitcoin? Will a Bitcoiner accept it on the Bitcoin network? No. So it's something completely separate. It doesn't matter.
But that's the whole thing here to me. Like this all ties together, because when we think about Jane Street, like what is their incentive to manipulate the price? Obviously they want to make some money of their own in the in-between and like having access to information before the average person does, of course. But like Jane Street, I think they're doing pretty well. I'm pretty sure I saw the founder of Jane Street eats at the same restaurant, like a very, very, very high-end restaurant in New York every single day. I don't think they care about the money that much. I think the reason why they're pushing the price down and they're playing these games, and it's playing right into people like this' hands. They think that they're actually doing the right thing by avoiding Bitcoin. But it's like, that's the whole purpose of this manipulation, is to, number one, keep the average people away from it, because when it's going down, nobody wants to buy it. That's just human psychology. But number two, the people who have actually got to the point of buying it, they're like, what the hell am I doing here? My investment just dropped 50% in 6 months. I'm selling it. So they're doing exactly what they're trying to do right now. They're accomplishing exactly what they're trying to do. They don't care if the price runs up to 2 million. They're still going to buy it. They have unlimited money. Unlimited money. They want to keep it down so the average people do not pay attention to it. And it's people like this who are actually doing more damage than they even realize. And it's sad.
This should just be seen as another attack on Bitcoin. Last 2 weeks ago, it was Epstein created Bitcoin. And so therefore you should buy BCH, which actually has way more of the founders of different companies that supported BCH that Epstein invested in, so that actually makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense on many levels. But now it's, oh, well, Bitcoin's been captured. It can be manipulated in the short term because of derivatives built on top of it and market makers and authorized participants. So it actually goes against the entire crypto anarchist ethos that birthed Bitcoin. So now it's not worth anything. Well, good luck with that. Good luck calling Bitcoin dead again, because it's not. And it's just gonna, again, it's anti-fragile. It's just gonna take this with stride and move up when it's ready, when everybody else is ready to move on from that dumbass narrative and start realizing that the currency they have is being printed into nothing, and we need a neutral reserve monetary network that you don't have to have permission to use and is fair to everybody involved.
And doesn't have a leader.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a cult. Think about a cult. Cults have leaders. Yeah. There's no leader. Who's the cult leader of Bitcoin? Who would it be, you think? Probably Saylor.
People say Saylor. Yeah, Saylor. But it's like, dude doesn't even talk about Bitcoin anymore. He just talks about digital credit.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss the old Saylor. I'm not gonna lie, I really miss the old Saylor. Every time he used to do a presentation, I would just be like, I'd get a bag of popcorn. My Friday night, I'm watching what Michael Saylor has to say about Bitcoin, but I haven't watched one of his speeches for like a year now because I just don't care. He's saying the same thing. I get it why he's doing it, but I just miss the old Saylor.
He's not talking to us anymore. He's talking to institutions. He's talking to pension funds. Yeah, that's who's going to hold his products and allow him to buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah. And then this comment here, authority bias. Why do you assume that just because? So Warren Buffett made money off death and destruction, off people's financial illiteracy, where he bought banks, he bought Coke, he bought all these.
He also went all in on those things that he bought.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's how they came to be. Is he made a couple really big bets on a couple really small things, and then once they got the wealth, then they diversified into different things, which Bitcoin doesn't really fit into that. But yeah, you're right, Rajat. Like he did the exact same thing.
And he was
Yeah.
wrong about every technology company ever. And it was basically people within Berkshire Hathaway that had to buy Apple
Yeah.
and reach out, and which is their best performing asset they've ever bought. So you know, it wasn't really him doing that. I'm not trying to discredit him, but he was consistent for a very, very long time. That's what led to his overwhelming returns. But he doesn't understand technology, and his last speech he ever made for his shareholder event talked about the biggest threat they see is jurisdictional currency risk, and how everything is tied to the US dollar, and he sees that as a big problem.
That's basically an advertisement for Bitcoin.
Yeah, it is. It is, without the understanding of Bitcoin being the solution to that.
Wasn't he the one who told Bill Gates to diversify from Microsoft?
Yep.
Was he the one? Because otherwise, Bill Gates would be like the wealthiest person in the world today.
By far.
Crazy.
And I think Steve Ballmer is actually richer than him.
I saw that.
And he was the CEO of Microsoft, so he was gifted a bunch of through share compensation, and he never diversified, and has more money than Bill Gates at this point.
That's crazy. And the next comment here, also grab some NFTs. Those are hot right here too. This guy's like in 2021. So he's back. He's like, he's not even here with us today. Like he traveled back in time.
We call these people 0-hour dipshits.
We call them poor.
Yeah.
The biggest problem, I mean, with all of this, I mean, you pointed out really good thing, authority bias and all that, but I think a lot of it is just people just conflating Bitcoin and crypto. It really comes back to the fact that Bitcoin is this pristine, unbelievable, novel technology, and it's lumped in with a pile of freaking garbage in a landfill that we need to that somebody needs to deal with. Somebody needs to, you know, dig the graves and bury the freaking crypto, and so we can move on from that. And it's going to take a long time. I think there's still a lot of people that are going to conflate these two things, and that conflation actually allows people to get away with more and more crypto scams. That connection, like people don't realize this, but people will say, oh well, Brian Armstrong, he doesn't understand Bitcoin, he's bad for Bitcoin, all this kind of stuff. Then he'll come out and say, well, Bitcoin doesn't actually, like, it, you know, it doesn't have a central authority, and he'll say something positive about Bitcoin, and everyone says, oh, you know what, that's awesome that he said that. Like, I don't like him for these reasons, but I'm glad he said it about Bitcoin. The reason he says those things about Bitcoin is so that he can get away with all the crypto shit, because the crypto stuff still has to be attached to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the only thing that's actually a true innovation within this space. So all these crypto projects, they have to connect themselves to Bitcoin in some way, because they cannot stand alone. They have no merit. So it's called an affinity scam, and that's what all of these crypto people do, is they all have to, even bad talking Bitcoin and saying, oh, we're better because of this. That's also an affinity scam, because you're comparing yourself to something else and trying to trick people into giving up their Bitcoin for that crypto that you're trying to sell.
Yeah, like it seems to me like I'm quite aware of the fact that crypto is very much bringing Bitcoin down. Like I imagine Bitcoin like trying to go upwards, and then there's all this crypto shit kind of just keeping it held down. But the reverse of that too is like the only thing that crypto has going for is that it tries to attach itself to Bitcoin. It's the only thing that actually keeps it alive, is the fact that it is somewhat related to Bitcoin. People still perceive it to be related to Bitcoin. So it's two very bad things happening. I don't know how it ends. There's been a lot of people say that it'll never end. It'll just keep going forever. I think that's maybe what an affinity scam is. But it's just, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, what stops it? What finally separates Bitcoin from crypto?
Education. I think it relegates it. It relegates it to a corner where, you know, like phone call scamming is still a thing. You know, credit card scamming is still a thing. Crypto scamming will still be a thing, but it'll be relegated to just one little portion of things where the vast majority of people recognize that those things are scams,
Yeah.
and that Bitcoin is different. That's the thing that needs to happen. Is, I mean, that's why my channel used to be called Bitcoin Not Crypto. It's to differentiate these things. That's what needs to happen, and I just think over time, eventually, that'll happen. And because all roads lead to Bitcoin, even the people that are in crypto. There's that thing. If you're, there was actually I think Jason Calcanis posted, if you're in crypto, pivot to AI. If you're in crypto, pivot to Bitcoin. And that's what needs to happen, and that's what will happen. All things will pivot to Bitcoin and integrate Bitcoin in some way, and eventually those things they'll still exist because it's open source technology and there's a fool born every minute. But eventually there'll be less and less fools, less and less capital, and less ability to extract value out of people for a low amount of work.
Yeah, VHF there said this may be the cycle that altcoins die. I don't think so. I think there's always going to be, like we just said, there's always people who are ready to get scammed. They want to get, it's like they want to get scammed. Like they want to get around the hard work.
Yeah.
They want to buy whatever
Desperate.
can give them quick gains.
They're
Desperate.
desperate.
Exactly. That's how you'll fool people. The crypto will continue to be able to fool people like multi-level marketing schemes will, and it's preying on poor people who are desperate. And there's a lot of people that are like that. So there's still ability to do that. But
Yeah.
I think Bitcoin also helps bring about a general sort of rising of tides, lifting all boats, which is
Yeah.
a general growing of wealth distribution to people. So that means there'll be less poor, desperate people.
Yeah, I think there's just gonna be new coins that are better marketed, and they'll keep, like, even Ethereum right now. Ethereum is a second place coin. There will be something else at second place, and there will be something else at second place. It'll keep getting better and better at marketing, because that's just what it is, right? The shit coins. VHF said, yeah, they're not gonna hit new all-time highs. Agreed.
Yeah.
Not sorry for it, Dora. I think I cut you off there.
I don't even know what I was going to say there, but I was talking about what you're saying there. Like with the cryptos, it's desperation, I think, is one of them. I think Ethereum, anybody who's still holding Ethereum right now just is completely brain dead. Even Vitalik's been dumping his Ethereum for the last week. Like, how could you look at that and say the CEO is selling this? Is pretty much at the bottom of what it's been for a while. He's dumping all these coins onto the market. How would you think that? And when was the last time you heard anything positive about any sort of crypto token out there, period? I mean, I kind of feel bad wasting our time talking about it because it's just that irrelevant. But it's maybe we're breaking free of it finally, and it'll probably take some time. It's not going to be like a switch that we flip on and off where crypto's out of the picture. But it really does seem now that people are catching on to the crypto scam. It's just that Bitcoin is still being tied to it. I think that's the main thing right now. That's the main problem.
Exactly. There's a big weight on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will rise with that weight, as you sort of explained and described, which I thought was elegant. But that weight will start falling off. It's kind of like when you launch a rocket into space. You got all this fuel, all this junk, all this heaviness, and then you just it detaches, and then it burns up into the Earth's atmosphere. Like that's essentially what's going to happen. All that stuff, and there'll still be scams trying to separate people from their money, right? A fool and their money is easily separated. But I think once you start having Bitcoin and Bitcoin becomes that sort of denominator, then and you start saying, oh wow, I can actually buy more tomorrow. I actually want to save my money. I want to I can actually see some hope for the future. Like it could still be really superficial, like, oh, I want to buy this truck, or I want to buy this chain, or like whatever it is. But you still see that you're more capable of doing that, and so you value your money more. Like people, like even when I have dollars, I don't value dollars. As soon as it goes into Bitcoin, I value that Bitcoin like crazy. So that's the mentality that's going to shift for people as Bitcoin becomes the denominator. And then they see some flashy scam thing they can try to make money from, but then they say, well, I have to swap my Bitcoin for that. I know my Bitcoin's going to be worth more tomorrow. This, I don't know if I want to give up my Bitcoin for it. Like, I think it becomes a little bit more friction. And
Yeah.
I see that happening in the future.
This is Vitalik's holdings of ETH, by the way. So he had 663,000 ETH, and then it just fell, kept going down. He went from 663,000 in January of 2016 to 522,000 in March of 2016. From January to March, he sold 100K. And then he slightly went up. It
For
went up like
what?
10K.
Like, what the hell
Only
is
Bitcoin.
Vitalik buying? Freaking
He's probably selling for Bitcoin.
lollipops?
Propeller hats.
Oh man, like weird outfits. It's like buying
Costumes.
weirdo. Like, look at this though.
He's a strange guy.
He went from 663,000 to 224K. He sold 2/3 of his coins, and he never bought.
Wow.
224,000 coins. He went from 663,000 to 224. How many coins has Satoshi sold?
0 that we know of.
Crazy.
And Satoshi also didn't pre-mine any Bitcoin for himself and his family and his friends.
Yep.
Yeah, Vitalik is one person, but I mean, there was a huge pre-mine of Ethereum that went to all sorts of different individuals and institutions and organizations, and you could look at those charts as well of those people's holdings, and it's all going down as well. This is ETH is a representation of every other crypto out there, which is it's a rug pull. They're all rug pulls. They just happen in different time frames. And ETH is a slow rug pull. And there's a lot more obvious ones out there, but they're all exactly the same.
What he's doing is he's basically selling it slowly enough that people don't realize that. I mean, not realize, but he's selling slowly enough that the mass majority of people don't figure out that he doesn't even want to hold it himself. And he's the one who created it. He created it and he doesn't want to hold it.
Well, it has no value. I mean,
crazy.
I mean, you can see as well, like when they switched from proof of work to which they couldn't compete on, really. Basically, they couldn't have a dominant proof of work mechanism, and they said, well, we can compete in this other realm where we can validate things way quicker, and we can mint the tokens with no real world cost of production, which completely separates it from any reality, essentially. And from the merge that happened, which was the upgrade or the change to the software that made it go from proof of work to proof of stake, ETH has just basically gone down, especially when removing volatility. So,
because it separated itself from nature. That's what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's going to fall to its real value, which is 0. There's no cost of production now.
I'm not sure why it's not showing now, but that was Satoshi's.
That was the exact opposite of Vitalik's.
Exact opposite.
It's exact opposite because he started with 0. Vitalik started with a shit ton.
Yep.
And he got a bunch and he never sold any, and Vitalik's just been selling all the way down. It's exact opposite.
Iman said he's selling to Tom Lee.
Yeah, for real.
Well, there's a sucker born every minute.
That's so messed up.
Well, Tom Lee is basically like, okay, well, I can make this corporate structure where I can print shares and I can give myself a bunch of ownership of it, and I can sell the shares to people, and I'll hold this thing that people have ascribed a lot of value to. Like, the market cap of ETH is not 0. It should be, but it's not. Or it should be relatively close to 0. And so it's just the scam perpetuates another scam.
He made a new Ethereum out of Ethereum, basically.
Pretty much.
And they've been trying to make Bitcoin out of Ethereum for a while now, and that's the reality of it. Is just when it doesn't take any real energy or effort or cost to produce something, It has no value.
Yeah.
And we're going to see that play out. I think that's going to be the biggest thing that we see over the next couple of years here is the separation of real from fake. It's going to happen in real life. It's going to happen online, mostly where people will see it. But all roads do lead to Bitcoin because it's the only thing that actually costs money and energy to create. And it's the only one that's in line with nature. And nature, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we've been around for a little while here on Earth, and nature usually succeeds.
Yeah. Have you guys read Broken Money by any chance?
Yep.
No.
So in that book, and also in actually in the Bitcoin Standard as well, Safety and Lynn, they both say there's actually an example of how natural money works so much better than man-made money, essentially. So she was saying, Lynn was saying in that book, she said, stop. So I have some notes on my phone here. Oh, you can't see my phone, but said, stop trading real valuables for fake valuables. That's exactly what we're doing, right? We're trading our real time, our real effort, our real energy, our skill for fake valuables, which is dollars. And that's the majority of people are doing that, right? The people in this chat hopefully aren't, right? They're hopefully changing their real valuables for real valuables like Bitcoin, maybe gold. I don't really think gold that much anymore. Hey, by the way, Dora, I just saw the shirt. That was really cool. The maple Bitcoin in the middle. I never noticed that before.
No?
No, I didn't.
I got some
a little one. Cool.
I got these.
I like it.
You've never seen this before?
No.
I don't think so.
I like it.
Oh, it's such a nice shirt too. I wear this all the time.
That's
I wore it to Vegas actually.
I never noticed the Bitcoin logo. That's so funny.
But anyways, I got like 20 more of these made. I was going to share with our community in the call today.
Oh, nice.
They're freaking sweet. I'll send you guys one too, obviously, but
really
they're
nice.
Sweet shirts.
Okay, so a couple of examples that she gave were African beads. So basically, she said Africans were taken advantage of because they didn't understand beads weren't actually scarce. They traded real valuables for fake valuables. Europeans came and they started creating. They had the technology to create more beads, glass beads, and they started selling them into the market. And they basically flooded the market with glass beads. And what they did was they bought people's time with something that it took them a fraction of a penny to create, whereas that time was infinite. I mean, that time was finite. So they bought people's time, they took something finite from people, and they gave them something that was infinite. And then another example was Yop stones. So Yop stones came up, Safety said it in his book as well, but they were basically turned into slaves. So the Yoppies, that's what they call them. They were turned into slaves because they didn't know that the Europeans, there you go. They didn't know that the Europeans were able to bring more stones to the island. They had no idea, right? And that's exactly it. Like this shows exactly, but that shows you like this. That's exactly what's happening with the dollar.
Yeah, dummies are still holding instead of Bitcoin. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and they argue and they tell you, no, you're wrong. You're stupid. You're an idiot for holding this thing. It's fake money when they're defending fake money.
That's the craziest the craziest thing to call Bitcoin is fake money. It's like, bro, you just you don't know what Bitcoin is and you don't know what money is.
Ponzi scheme too is kind of that one bothers me because it's just a buzzword. Any buzzword bothers me in Bitcoin. You guys think I can split the G here? Chad's calling for it. Think I can do it?
What does that mean?
Well, I got to take a sip.
Get it to the level of the G?
Oh,
split the G.
What does that mean? Cut it in half? Get it to the middle?
So like get the part to be like at the where the half of the G is here. It's a pretty big goal.
The line there. There was this video. Actually, try it, Jor. But there was this video that I saw. It was really funny. This guy's like, I'm gonna try to do it. He just chugs the entire beat.
Finish the whole thing. Yeah. Actually, that was pretty damn close.
That was really good. That's really good. That's
really
perfect.
Close.
2 gulps.
I guess you could tilt it. You could tilt it to make it perfect.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it flat as I could there.
This guy's rigging the game for himself.
Is it? That's as close as I can make it to flat with my eyes. Close?
It's at the top of the G almost.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I'll accept that.
There's a Kalshi bet for Jor to cut the G. Wow, they're fast on there.
Oh, man. Hey, by the way, Nav asked a question above. He said, what do you guys think about Claudbot or Clawbot? Yeah, Clawbot. Claude and something else. It was further above. I didn't
Oh,
It was quite a ways up.
Oh, here it is. I'll just copy and paste it.
we employed one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I built one for us for Maple Bitcoin.
I added the copy. That's from Nav. Nav sent that.
So what are our thoughts on it? I mean, I'll let Forrest talk about our actual OpenClaw. Barry, his name is, I think, right? Right, Forrest? He's out of money though. He's out of credits. But
Gotta feed him.
I mean, it just goes, to me, it goes in line with my larger thesis here, in the sense that everything's decentralizing because of open source software, and how basically it went viral so fast. Like OpenClaw, it went viral. And I think that things like that are going to be impossible to stop. Bitcoin is one of those things. The elites, I think, struggle with that. They're having a hard time containing this kind of stuff. And I don't know what the implications of that are going to be. I'm actually curious to hear what you guys think about that. But to me, it seems like technology is running faster than anybody can keep up with right now, including governments and laws and regulations. And they're doing everything they can to try to stomp it down and try to snuff it out. But it's not working. I think that they're going to lose control at some point. And my theory is that they're probably going to try to do something very stupid, which is usually what happens when governments lose control of things. And it's pretty clear that they've lost control of things right now. That's my sense of it anyways. And what usually follows that is the 3-letter word that starts with a W there, which kind of concerns me a little bit. But
I thought win for a second. I was like, what? Opposite of win.
So that's kind of what I see, is like all these different things are happening right now. The genie's out of the bottle, including Bitcoin, including OpenClaw, all this open source technology. It's out. And I think there's going to be a lot of, he talked about the block layoffs too. There's going to be a lot of people in a lot of dire conditions soon. And the government isn't going to be able to print enough units to keep them happy. And so there's going to be some sort of upheaval. And usually when there's an upheaval, there's a large event. If you look at what led up to 2020, there was protests all across the world. And then all of a sudden the 2020 event happened and all of them just kind of got snuffed out. So that's what I'm expecting right now, which, you know, if you're a Bitcoiner, you might say, well, that probably means the price is going to go much lower, and it might. But that's just kind of what I foresee coming here because of all this.
They laid off people and then they bought a ton of Bitcoin.
Wow, what a legend.
Genius strategy.
I didn't see that.
I don't know. I know they have a public position of their Bitcoin purchasing, which is that I believe around 10% of anything Bitcoin related within their company goes towards buying Bitcoin. 10% of the profits they make. So that could have just been from that, to be honest. But it's kind of a funny timing kind of thing.
Timing is funny.
They should have bought 108. That would have been a way better number.
108.
Well, then they would have had 8,888.
True.
Oh,
which, speaking of that, before we continue here, Joshua sent a zap of 8,888 over on the Nostr chat for the boys. So he said, fucking A, sorry. He sent this in. This isn't my voice here. Fucking A, the Maple Crew is live. The Carnster can't shut this one down, eh?
Carnster. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, with the AI thing, what's very interesting, I thought, was the guy who created OpenClaw, which is what it's called now, is very anti-crypto. And
he is.
To be fair, it makes a lot of sense, because what he's creating has created a lot of these AI bots have been designed to create crypto scams, to pump it on Moltbook and all this kind of stuff, which is directly affecting the usability of his technology that he's developing. And again, that kind of comes back to, he's anti-crypto. I think if Bitcoin was a standout, or well, it does stand out, but if there wasn't all this connotation with it, then Bitcoin would be probably perceived in a neutral or positive light from somebody like that.
He does keep saying crypto too, not like Bitcoin, but he keeps saying crypto in all the 100%. In all the negative things that he's been saying about it. He keeps saying crypto.
Yeah, which probably angers his new boss, because his new boss has WorldCoin, which is probably one of the worst crypto projects ever imagined. But you know, I'm sure they'll work that out and figure that out. Yeah, but the AI agent thing is, is pretty big. I mean, there's all these knock-on effects, right? There's the unemployment that it will lead to, and then the unemployment figures is one of the three mandates that the central bank takes into consideration. And what do they do when unemployment goes up? They lower interest rates to try to stimulate the economy and redo the cycle of excess spending in nonsense that we don't need. How many times can that happen before we all realize, hey, this isn't working anymore? This is just destroying people. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's probably going to take a while, but that's sort of a thesis to support the gradual print or the big print kind of stuff happening in continued AI adoption. But I think it's pretty powerful, the open source nature of these things. So OpenClaw is open source, and there's a lot of LLMs that are very powerful, large language models that are open source as well, that you can run locally or run really cheaply, and integrate into an OpenClaw agent to do more things. And you know what's interesting about this with the job thing is those are people getting fired, but what we don't see, or we don't see as clearly, is the job openings that don't happen because of AI, which I think is a plenty more. Like with us, we are deciding to develop our own agent to do a task that we want to do, which we could go hire somebody to do, or we could do ourselves, but we're going to get an agent to do it instead because it's cheaper and maybe more efficient, and we can develop it into this personalized agent that we can train to do other things as well. So I think that's continuing to happen. If it happens at this small scale, you know, a 3-person small business that we have here, if we're doing it, everybody's doing it. And if they're not, they're going to become less efficient, and they're going to have to pay people, and it's going to cost more money, and they're going to get less done, and all of that. So that's where this leads. Just continues to go down that road.
It seems like it's efficiency to me. That's the one thing I'm noticing here, because one thing that Jack said in his message is that they're basically going to alter their own software in a way where their end customers, their users, which are small businesses, they're going to be able to basically fully customize their own connection using this kind of software. Like that's what's happening here, is that if you think about software in the past, you'd have to buy software for your business, and you'd either have to use it out of the box solution, which is basically a cookie cutter approach to it, which doesn't work with all businesses, right? I'm sure anybody's used a software that's like the cookie cutter version, and you have to make this change, and this part doesn't work, and this part doesn't work. Or you have to hire and pay thousands of dollars for somebody to make you customized version of that. Now you can essentially use an AI agent to do it in 5 minutes for $5. So it's becoming much more efficient. It's eliminating those redundancies. And I think that at the end of this, there's a lot of people scared of this AI thing, but I really believe that humans are going to be much better off. I think that humans are going to be much more in demand. Skilled humans are actually going to be much more in demand. And those skilled humans are actually going to use AI to make themselves even more skilled. So I think that there's going to be a huge premium on like human interaction and real things like this. Like think about all the AI songs and videos and stuff. And it's just like, there's so much of it. There's going to be a premium on humans.
Big time. And yeah, I think software is going to become almost like you said, you can use AI to create bespoke software, and everybody else can too. So what is the value of software at that point? And this destroys the moats that closed source software companies have created for themselves, and how they're going to have to pivot essentially. And this is massively disruptive to software names out there. And it's a powerful tool, AI, and it's powerful for the individuals that learn how to use it. And there's been other powerful tools that have empowered people as well throughout history, and this is just another one of them. So I would recommend learning to use the tool.
Yeah, and then one of the things that I think that I think will happen over the next little while is actually the same example with Jack. They actually want to go from, so right now they're making like $500,000 of revenue per employee. he made a post about that. They want to go up to 2 million per employee. So all that means is that each employee is going to have to be more productive. And how does that happen? It happens through AI.
Yeah.
Kind of an underrated company. Like if I was allocating capital right now, I would actually look at Block as an investment. If I had money in the traditional system, they got 8,000 Bitcoin. They're actually buying Bitcoin every quarter, I believe. They're taking like a significant portion of their profits and putting it into Bitcoin every quarter or every month. And they got some traction there, man. They have connections to every freaking business on the planet. And those are the people who are actually adding value to the world. That's a pretty good company. I'm not making any financial advice or any financial advice here, but super interesting.
One
Also,
other
Jack
thing,
Dorsey, Satoshi. So
yeah, I don't know about that, but one thing Jack Dorsey is he's somebody with a track record of companies with too many employees. That's another meme I've seen about this. But what happened when Elon bought Twitter? He axed like 80% of the jobs.
yeah,
And now Block is firing a huge amount of people. Like, I don't know, maybe Jack Dorsey just creates bloated companies.
That's such a great point. Wow. That's such a great point. I didn't even think of that.
I think by the time Elon bought Twitter, though, Jack was well on his way out of there. And I think they had a whole bunch of like hires to promote their message that they wanted to promote. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a fan of Dorsey. I'm still kind of go back and
me
forth
too.
on him, but I think he's very net positive for the world. So
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I agree with Sin here, man. When I was watching that interview with Gary, I was like, Rajat, you're doing pretty well, man. I could not have been able to just sit through and listen to what he was saying without getting any sort of like, ramped up and revved up. You sat through that pretty good.
It was actually a hard watch.
I was getting impatient.
Were
getting
you?
a little impatient. Yeah, I was, because he kept saying the same thing and it didn't really make sense to me. He doesn't have the right time. I mean, keep in mind he's 67.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
And we're in our 30s. So to us it's different. His view is different. So to him, it's like if it goes down and then it stays down for another 5 years and I can't retire, what do I do? Whereas for us, it's like I hope it goes down and it stays down for 5 years, because that means I can buy more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a couple more Jane Streets.
He is a bull though. Yeah, he's very bullish.
I gathered that.
Yeah.
He's just a rush bull. He's a bull in a rush.
Yeah.
Impatient bull.
He's a bull who sees red.
Raging bull.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys, with 4 minutes till the happy hour here, I want to give people a bit of a rundown on kind of what we're working on with Maple Bitcoin right now. So we've completed our course. We've been working on a course for about 6 weeks now, almost 2 months. We've been getting together for 3 or 4 or 5 hours every week, and we've been doing some really good work here. And so we've compiled this course, which is essentially for any Bitcoiner out there who is in the process of ordering a hardware device. They feel like they need a little bit more security around their Bitcoin, or they just got one, they got it set up, and they want to make sure they don't have any holes in their foundation. Essentially, they want to make sure that it's locked up tight. And so we're going to hop over there right away. I got a couple topics that I want to talk about. Number one is I actually want to dive further into the OpenClaw force that you were doing, and basically tell people if they wanted to get started with OpenClaw, where to begin, things to look out for, things like that. The other thing too is I want to share a resource that I found recently, which is actually connected to Nostr, which allows you to earn Bitcoin every day. And I want to talk about why it's important to start preparing for this, because I think it's going to be a big part of our future, especially if you're here in Bitcoin right now. I'm gonna talk about Nostr and this plugin to it and how you can actually earn Bitcoin every day using it in a non KYC fashion with not a whole lot of effort. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the happy hour today. We're going to start doing some different topics each week, but the big thing here is that we're going to start releasing courses, I think, on Sunday or Monday, and we're going to release a couple every week. And when we start releasing them, we're basically going to double the price of the Skool community for anybody who wants access to that course. So right now it's $30 per month. We're going to jump it to $60 per month to access the course. You're going to be able to buy the course individually, but it's going to be like $500. So this is the course that we did was hours. I think it's almost 10 hours long. It's not something you're going to crush off in a weekend, but it is something that you're going to want to sit down with a notepad, go through a couple times, check in with your own security, and watch it again and again, and make sure that there's no holes in your Bitcoin setup. Because the last thing I'm going to say here is that we're heading into a lot of uncertainty here. And the main message that I've been trying to get across to people is that the main focus that you should have right now, knowing what we know between AI agents, having to prove verification online, robotics, everything, Bitcoin is the thing that you want. And so the main focus should be whatever you have today, protecting that for yourself, for your family, for generations to come. And that's what we built this course for. So that's my pitch. What do you guys, it's not really a pitch. It's just like making people aware of it. Cause I just think there's so much good information in there that people really don't even know they need to know.
It's just a lot of things that people, I think it's not that they ignore, it's just, you don't know what you don't know, right? There's a lot of things that even I, for example, when we were filming, I was learning from you guys, because there are things that you guys were saying that I hadn't even known about. Like there are certain use cases for the cold card queue that I didn't even know about, and I learned from that topic. And I would personally say that I'm a pretty seasoned investor. I've been in Bitcoin for 4 or 5 years, or 4 years, and I still didn't know these things. So could you imagine somebody who is just getting in for the first time now? They are trying to learn, they're trying to figure this thing out, and then on top of that, we have tons of content already on the community,
Right.
where we were discussing, we enjoyed making this course, so we want to make more. Like we're gonna make one with the stuff that we're doing here. We're doing content creation, we're creating content for people, we build our own business, and we want to help other people to do that as well, because we need as many Bitcoiners creating content as possible, right? And I think that's going to be our next maybe course. And that, if you sign up today, $30 a month, it'll go up to 50, and then we'll increase it more and we'll increase it more. But if you sign up today, you get value to everything in the future that we keep creating.
Yeah, and just give it a shot. I mean, it's really worth it for as an investment in your knowledge. It's going to save you money by not making mistakes. You're going to learn a ton, and you can just hop on the course or hop on the Skool for free. It's we have a free trial, and you can see if it's right for you. There's some limited access with the free trial, but you can at least see if you like the platform and the community tab and a few different things. You can hop on the happy hour with the free trial, so you can continue this show, but with the topics Shore was going to mentioned, and in a more intimate environment. And you can hop on the video, hop on the mic, and ask us questions, bring up anything you thought about. That's what we do every Friday after we go live here on YouTube. We do it exclusively on our Skool, and free trial. So just hop on, see if it's for you. And this here, you can scan the QR code in the screen here. This is a link to the Maple community, which you can also go to skool.com/Maple Bitcoin if you wanted to go there as well.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We've been doing these communities for a couple of years now, and it seems like the earlier you get in there, and I don't want this to seem like I'm trying to sell it here. This is just the reality of how these things work. And so basically what I'm going to be talking about today in terms of how to earn Bitcoin every day on Nostr, part of that is actually having proof of work, having time in, growing your reputation, growing your trust among other Bitcoiners in your network, and being part of a community like this, especially the Maple Bitcoin one. That's what you do. That's what you should be focused on, is obviously your security, which is what we built this 11-part course around, is increasing your security, but increasing your reputation and your trust and your connections. Because Bitcoin, we've been talking about this the whole show today, Bitcoin removes the middlemen. And when you don't have a middleman to count on there, you have to rely on trust, peer-to-peer trust. And the only way to do that is through time. And so the people who have been in this community, we basically said, join this week, you're going to get in for like $5 a week. That was 6 months ago. Then it was $15 a month, and then it was 20, and then it was 25, and now it's 30, and it's about to be 60 next week. And everybody who's been there, they get locked in at those rates. You essentially get grandfathered into whatever rate that you join at. So even if we increase the price to $300 a month next year, which could happen, who knows? You're still going to be locked in at the rate that you have there. So if you're taking this stuff seriously, I highly recommend this 11-part course. We're going to be talking about it quite a bit in the future. But by that point, it's going to be too late. You're going to be paying double what you would pay by joining in the next couple of days here. So the price is going to go up, I believe, March 1st when we post the first episode in there, and then it will never come back down.
Yep.
So
Awesome.
you're going to be able to join the community, just kind of be in there and get access to certain things, but you're not going to get access to this course unless you join the highest premium tier there. So if you join before that, you're going to get grandfathered into that premium tier essentially. So let's head over to happy hour, boys. I think it's going to be a good one. This is going to be something we're going to start doing, is pick a couple different topics each that we feel is more appropriate to talk about in private setting. And that's where we're going to start today. So last thing I want to say is big shout out to Mark 65 Sats for sending 1650 units of freedom. And we had one more zap here on Nostra. I don't know who's from, but it said block this week. And there's an image here, which I'll leave us with before we say goodbye to everybody here. Good one. It's a good meme. And it says, oh, sorry, Rajat.
Sorry, there's a comment there. This guy said, you guys sure you aren't making this cash in Bitcoin only an echo chamber? We created that echo chamber. We're the only ones who talk about that. Nobody else talks about that.
Right. Yeah, Rajat invented that theory, and Sailor even copied it.
Yeah, there you go.
So here's the meme. This was the zap we got on Nostr, and it says, stop buying Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin to cut costs, or sack 40% of the workforce and keep the DCA going.
I like that.
So that was from, I don't know who it was from, but it was over on Nostr, and they zapped 2100 sats. So thank you. And that's it. Thanks, Rajat. Thanks, Forrest. We'll be back here same time next week. And if you haven't yet, strongly consider joining the community. It's going to be, we're going to 10x your value that you pay for it in return. That's our guarantee. So thanks, guys. Talk to you next week.